And all you have to be able to do is add, subtract, multiply, divide fractions. I'm also going to show you about mixed numbers and improper fractions, which are some of those baby skills from elementary school that you might have forgotten. Simplifying fractions, and there is one more thing called clearing fractions. So basically, it's all about fractions. You ready? All right, here's the simplest kind of them all. Look up at the board, please. 2/3 plus 4/3, and don't overthink this. What do you think you get? Don't say it, write it. These have a common denominator, so it's so simple. It's just 6/3, but you have to simplify that. Not 1/2. 2 over 1. 2 over 1 equals 2. There's your final answer. Any questions on that one? Well, why was that so easy? Because it had a common denominator. So then what happens if it doesn't have a common denominator? What if it's like 2/3 plus 1/4? Well, then you got to make them have a common denominator. So to do that, yes, you can do some complicated thing where you try to find the least common multiple of the two things, but just keep it simple. Just multiply them. Do you get 12 would be a good denominator? Yeah. Yeah, so let's use 12s. So how do I get this to turn into 12s? Times by what? 3. And then I times by 3 on the top to keep it fair. Because then if I times by 3 over 3, do you get that's like timesing by 1? Okay. And this one gets times by 4 and 4. And then I would show the work underneath it. This would make 8 12ths plus 3 12ths makes 11 12ths. The end. Do you get how that worked? You saw me do it. Let's see if you can do it. 1/9 plus 2/3. Now, are you going to use 27? You could, but there's a better number. Just think. Don't say it. Think about what you can multiply this and this by so that you get a common denominator. Now, there are times when just multiplying the denominators is easier than thinking that much. I'm fine with that. Get a common denominator, though, and compare it to the kid next to you. You guys remember that compare rows 1 and 2. Rows 3 and 4, just compare across. You two are next to each other, so you compare. For today, you're going to have to turn around and compare with Jackson. All right, Nolan, what'd you use? Did you multiply by 3 here to make it 9, or did you go with 9 to make it 27? I'm okay with either.
I did 3 and 1.
I agree. Now, I just said a second ago that you could always just multiply them, but do you get how he got a common denominator of 9ths, and it's fine? His way's fine. 1 over 9 plus 6 over 9 makes 7 over 9. What's better about his way, you don't have to reduce it. It's already done. Now, those of you that went with 9, I'm okay with that. You'd have times by 9 here and 3 here, and it would have totally worked. You would have gotten 3/9 plus 18/9, or sorry, 27ths, my bad. And the numbers are just all so much bigger. So I think his way was pretty smart. On the test, you'll be able to do it either way. 21/27ths. Why isn't that looking like 7/9? Because it needs to be reduced. I'm going to remind you of my favorite saying. If you can factor it, you should. So this 7 times 3 and this 9 times 3, sorry, tells me that the 3's would cancel and it's 7/9. See? If you don't just have a great way to reduce, that's a great way to reduce. Fractions. Here's another one like that. Everybody write this down. 24 over 30. Reduce it. My favorite way or your favorite way. I don't care. Reduce it. It's one of the skills with fractions you've got to get. My favorite way is to turn them into 2 times problems. Avery, what do you like to do?
I like to do the GCF.
Okay, and what is it?
In this case, it's 6.
So then, here's my way of incorporating what you just said into my way, which as I go, okay, so 6 goes into both. That is the GCF. I like it a lot. And then I just go like this. 4 times 6 is 24, and 5 times 6 makes 30, and then I go like that, 4/5. So that's kind of your way mixed with my way. Either way, the answer's 4/5. Who had 4/5? Good. On to 1 and 4/5. What happens when you got something like that? Yes, you remember?
You multiply the number on the bottom and add the number on the top.
That times that plus that. Do you guys get that? 1 times 5 plus the 4 makes 9/5. Do you get what happened there? 1 times 5 and then add the 4. 9/5. Do you remember that? Okay. What would 2 1/3 be then? Don't say it. Write it and compare it with the kid next to you. This times this plus this. You've all been paired with somebody. Jack, you got it written down yet? Good. Please compare with the kid next to you. See if you both got this. Two times 3 is 6 plus the 1 makes 7/3. Who had that one right? Okay, good. Now how about the other way around? What if you had 7/3 and you had to make it go the other way? Like into 1 and something. Not actually 1 and anything, it's actually 2 and something. So what do? I personally like to think it through like this and go, how many 3s can I do? Can I do 2 3s? Yeah. So then I got 2 3s would be like 6. So really, here's the math way to say this. This is 3/3 plus 3/3 plus 1/3. Does that help you see why it's 2 and 1/3? Sorry, a lot of people are distracted. Just set your pass up there. Have a seat. All right, so 7/3 could be broken up like this. 3/3 plus 3/3 plus 1/3. And that's 2 and 1/3. All right, so let's make sure you got that. What's 8/5? Don't say it, write it. Is it like 2 and 1/3? No. What is it?
Oh, yeah.
Carly, what do you say? 1 and 3/5. Very good. One of these is called a mixed number. Do you know which one? This one's a mixed number. Good. What's this one called? Say it if you know it. Improper. Good. Which do I like better? I actually like these better. Even though it says the word improper makes it sound like never do that, But I actually like 8/5 better. You know why? Because you can use it in an equation way easier. So here's that. 8/5 n equals 7. Now, when you have fractions in your problem, I'm going to teach you to get rid of them. It's called clearing them. In the old days, your teacher would have told you to multiply by 5/8. I think this is better. Just find the denominator and times by it. What is the denominator? 5. Times by it. Everybody write this down. Write the red problem. And then times it by a 5 in black. Danny Kinzer, why did I times it both sides by 5?
So you can get rid of the denominator.
Yeah, this one's gone now. And if there's anybody left who can't solve 8n equals 35, I'm a little sad for you because we're in Algebra 2 and you have to be able to do this. You just divide both sides by 8 and you're done. That's it. Can you leave your answer that way? Yes, you can. I am not going to force you to change this. I like that answer. Even though it's called improper, it's fine. The only thing is you should reduce it as much as you can. But 5 doesn't go into 8, so I can't think anything that would reduce. So I think we're done. If they're both even, you always should reduce that kind, right? Like if I had 24/28, they're both even. So I'd go, oh, 2 goes in it, and 2 goes in it. And then I go 2 times 14 and 2 times 12. And then those cancel. And then I can go, it's even again. 2 times 6, 2 times 7, cancels, 6 sevenths. All right, so there's some basic fraction stuff. How many of you feel comfortable so far? Okay, good. That was add, subtract. Now let's just finish with multiply and divide. So what if I had 2/3 times 4/6? Well, my gut says that 4/6 is actually 2/3. I could just reduce that. Do you get what I mean? I can just change this to 2/3 because it is 2/3. And then it's 2/3 times 2/3. A lot of people think multiplying fractions is more complicated than it is because, you know, you get burned enough times, you're like, must be more complicated than that. But it's not. It's just 4/9, the end. You just multiply the top, you multiply the bottom. So multiplying fractions is super easy. The only thing that I'd watch out for is stuff that reduces or cancels. Like, what if I had 2/7 times 5/2? Boom, cancel, cancel, right away. When they cancel, they replaced with ones, because technically you're changing it to 1/1. 2/2 is equal to 1/1. And then it's just 1 times 5 is 5, and 7 times 1 is 7, and there's the answer, 5/7. You just multiply across the top, and you multiply across the bottom, and you cancel stuff if you can. So that's multiply. Like, that's pretty easy, isn't it? And there's only one thing that's actually kind of hard, and I betcha if I give you this problem, only half of you will be able to do it. Let's see who can do it without any help. 2/7 divided by 1/3. If you know what to do, it's not that bad, but I think a lot of you have forgotten how this works. If you can do basic math and you know the little trick, you can do it. But sadly, I'm going to lose half of you on this. Try it, and then I'll tell you in a minute what the right way was. I used to think it's better to not confuse people and like let you do it wrong by accident. And the reality is, when you have learned more about how your brain works, your brain needs to know, do I know how to do this or not? So try it, and then I'll tell you either, yeah, that's right, or no, you're wrong. Okay? So try it. Compare it to the kid next to you. If you both got the same thing, it's probably right. But you know, maybe you both made the same mistake. I'll pause for a second, give that a shot. All right, I've heard some people say it right. Here's what you should do. First off, I'm changing colors, and I'm changing this to times. Can you just change divide to times? No. But if I flip it, then I can change divide to times. 2 times 3, 6. 7 times 1, 7. 6/7. The end. Raise your hand if you had 6/7. Ooh, more than half. Far more than half. Nice. So which one flips? The most common mistake is people will flip both of them. That doesn't work. Okay. And one last one I want you to get is, what if I write it like this? That's still 2 divided fractions. And you're like, but that's not a fraction. Sure it is. It's 2/1. See how it's really a fraction divided by a fraction? So you still keep it as 2/1, and you change it to times, and then you flip it just like before. And this flips to 2/1. This is like you have 2 cookies and you divide the 2 cookies you had into half cookies. Divide it into half cookies. And then how many pieces do you have now? You have 4. If you had 2 cookies and you divided it into half cookies, you'd have 4 pieces, right? That's what that means. 2 divided into halves. You had 2 cookies, you divide them into half cookies, you got 4 half cookies. Okay? All right, so let's see if you really caught that. 2/3 divided by 5/7. Go ahead. Do some flipping, some multiplying. Get yourself an answer. Compare it to the kid next to you. Also reduce it. Today's a weird day. We won't have the bells like normal, so. And who knows if the people upstairs are even there because of testing and everything. Okay, did you say 2/3 times 7/5? Notice I had to flip that. 14/15. Who had it right? Raise your hand if you did. Okay, good. There, that's it. Now, I have one last bonus question, I guess you'd say, that a lot of people can't answer because they've forgotten middle school. And my new way of doing it is different than what you learned in the middle school, and it is clear the fractions. What are the denominators? X and 7. So clear them one at a time. Everybody times this by X. Why am I timesing by X? To make it cancel out of the denominator. Why am I timesing by 7? to make it cancel. See? Look. No more fractions. Now it's 14 equals 8x. And if you can't solve it from there, I don't have much hope for you. See how quick that is? And yes, you should reduce it. So what's half of 14? 7. What's half of 8? So 7/4. All right. Now, but wait. I'm going to just finish by saying when we come back, we're just going to do the Schoology quiz. And that's it for today. All right. See you back here after lunch.